don't see any need for blast hangers.
The reason why I asked is I know they were doing some work along the boulevard and they were laying pipes, they were blasting. They had people come to the houses to make sure there was no, there was nothing done to the foundation of homes nearby.
We've done preliminary borings throughout the existing parking lot where the paved area sits today, and where we need to be building improvements, we do not see any ledge.
I have another question.
Is it related to? I need to get
It's not related to that. It's a separate question.
All right, I'll get back to it
Okay.
after we go. Others that haven't asked questions. Yeah.
Sunny Robinson. I want to go back to the generator. Since there's such neighborhood concern about the generator, and you've got a big footprint, why not put the generator at the other end of the building where it completely eliminates the concern from the neighborhood?
John, location of the generator?
Well, I think the design of the hotel constrains the location of the generator. But it certainly does make sense, given the concerns raised by this gentleman and others, to evaluate what more could be done, or whether there's some alternate location. Part of what I'm told is that having the power comes off a pole right near that generator, drops down and then goes underground into the building. So it's advantageous to have a generator near the power source. But it may be that there's some other approach to this that we could take, and we're certainly willing to look at it.
I would certainly point out that what's advantageous for the neighborhood may be well worth considering rather than just what's advantageous to the hotel.
Thank you, Sonny. And you heard me say it's worth looking at. So make sure you hold me through that. Other questions? Sir.
I'm Nathaniel Kay.
Yep.
I preface my question by saying thank you for this neighborhood meeting. It is intriguing that Mr. Davis, who is our neighbor, has never attended any of the council meetings, any of the planning board meetings, and is not present today. Will he be attending any of these meetings so we can ask him questions? That said, my actual question is, during the land court first round, the judge asked, would you be willing to reach a compromise? Those of us in attendance were delighted to hear that Bport LLC was open to compromise. Is the height of the building one of the things you are willing to compromise on?
Thank you. So, two questions. Mr. Davis, and you're willing to compromise the height of the building? Thank you. John?
Bport Gloucester is represented by Sherry G. Lorenzo, who is the managing partner for this project. She's attended every meeting that I know of, and that's the plan for the future too. She will be involved in this project. She is on the scene and the local representative.
I appreciate that, but that wasn't the question.
Excuse me? So that was the first, the answer to the first question is that, the second was on willingness to compromise on the height.
Well,
And looking at that.
just to clarify the proceedings, there's been an appeal of the HOD, the Hotel Overlay District, which is independent of the special permit. So the HOD, whether or not there is any compromise for that is unclear to me, because it seems to me you either have a Hotel Overlay District or you do not. That's a legislative action. So the question with regard to height under the special permit, at the time we made the presentation, people asked, what's this thing going to look like? So we had a schematic done. You obviously don't go to the expense and time to design a full hotel until you know whether a hotel overlay district has been successfully adopted. So we had a height at that time, and the architects, listening to what people said.
John, I really appreciate this preamble, but we've got a very short evening. We have a very short evening. So
That's what I want to finish up the question on. Are you willing to do some compromise on
beyond what is currently on the plan?
Excuse me, I understand that it's within, there's permits being issued and judicial proceedings and all that, so if you could directly answer his question, please. Please.
We don't see, this plan has been developed. If you're going to have a 100-room hotel, you're going to have adequate parking, you're going to have the facilities that a hotel has. You need a certain amount of space. If you're going to have a hotel in Gloucester, you're going to have it in the downtown, it's going to be on a lot that's constrained. If you had a huge lot and you could spread this out, that would be one thing. But that's not the case here. In order to build a hotel that we think we want to build, and we think you need to build to have economic, it really needs to be of this dimension and this size. And we feel that the design that's been put forward is our best effort to address the massing, the setbacks, and the height.
So, I'm going to ask, I know you've asked, I know, but that's his answer. So, that's the answer. So, in detail, write that down, your two questions. Is Mr. Davis coming? Mr. Lorenzo is representing Ballport, and regarding the height. So that was that. We need to move on. Other questions? Yes?
Ann Lloyd, Neptune Towers, the Ocean Crest. I have a lot of concerns about running our business down there, and a lot of them have to do with traffic during construction and getting our trucks in and out all hours of the day and night. And the other is about people complaining about smells and noise and other things that could interfere with our business. I was wondering if there was any way you could put a clause in that would say, you know, we won't complain about smells, noises, and other things from the businesses on the street, and how you can ensure that our trucks will be able to make that corner, because looking at the drawings where that gravel road is, there's a fire hydrant and a telephone pole on one corner of Fort Square there, and then there's Mortalaro's Tin Building on the other side, and I've seen from years of experience that trucks cannot make that corner. So those are kind of a two-part question. I have more, but that's the start.
Hopefully get those. Thank you. So construction, truck access, the layout, noise, and some guarantees on all that. So, Johnny, you're best to take that one.
Let me start.
I have two parts there.
You know, so with regard to the question of truck access, we have the greatest respect for the businesses there. Mr. Mortallaro, you, and others have run successful businesses. And Sherry and Bport are committed to doing everything we can with our site to facilitate the continuation of your business. So the infrastructure work has been assumed by the city. I think they rightfully say that they would like to design, build, control, and since they're ultimately going to have the responsibility for it, own all of that. So as you know, there is a separate infrastructure design contract that's been awarded, and that is underway. And I frankly don't know any more than you do at this point about how far they are, but I do know that they're committed to working with businesses, talking to you about what your needs are. So we all know, all through the city, there have been projects where the water lines are coming through, the sewer lines are coming through, and we've all been inconvenienced by it. And I think the city does a decent job of trying to provide access for businesses and residents while that construction is ongoing. So if this project proceeds and the site is leveled and is available, we've told the city we're willing to allow you to use the site. We'll hold off on our construction. We'll work on some other part of the project while you make use of this site. So Todd had looked at this and had developed a schematic for it. And there certainly may be other ways that that can be done. And I'm sure that's part of what the city's going to look at, and frankly, we're going to look at, and I think you and the other businesses ought to participate in. But we're going to make our site available to provide this alternate access during the construction of the improvements in Commercial Street and Fort Square. We have the right to be concerned about it, and we want to help you with that part.
Thank you.
Second part.
The second part of the question?
Putting something on the smells and the noise that people can't complain.
Well, I saw that in your letter, and the city has ordinances about noise, and they have ordinances about smell. So I don't quite see how you do a provision that keeps people from making legitimate complaints. That is, right now, there aren't those kind of problems or issues. I mean, the other thing I would say is that if you look at Cruiseport, which is a hospitality business as well, they're on the working harbor, they're next to Americold, they're next to Roses, there's certainly noise there. The smell potential may not be as great, but we all know that through Gloucester Harbor from time to time there are smells. So I'm not certain that I understand your concern, but I'm not sure that I see a workable way to do that. And it's something I'd be willing to discuss further, because...
Thank you. So willingness to discuss further is good. I have to say that having chaired the planning board for 10 years, I've been chair. We have monitored hundreds of meetings and reviewed hundreds, if not over 1,000 plans for the city. You're asking the best questions. This project is subject to a special permit, which means it's subject to negotiation. So your questions are really the right kind of questions to be asking. And I think the willingness of these guys to continue that conversation in the public forum at City Hall is a good indication. So, ma'am, and then over here. Yes.
My name is Ann Roseman, and the question I have is what precautions are being taken when the building